what does inspiration even mean? According to Google, inspiration is a process of being mentally stimulated to do or feel something, especially to do something creative. But you know what it also means? The drawing in of breath, inhalation. And I think that's a really beautiful way to look at inspiration, actually. We tend to think of inspiration as something that just exists and then comes out of us like a spark to create work. But really, inspiration is breathing in our surroundings, our experiences, and our feelings. And that's ultimately what leads us to create art. But to have an art business, you can't depend solely on inspiration. So today, let's discuss inspiration, discipline, and how both of these things can help us in our art practice and art businesses. Let's get into it. Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. In case you don't know me, my name is Fiona and I'm a visual artist. And on this channel, I like to take you with me on my artistic journey, whether that means working on projects here in my studio, going out to see art exhibits, buying art supplies and sharing my haul with you, just basically anything art related. So if that sounds like something you're into, please like and subscribe. It's one free click for you, but makes a big difference for my channel, and I would really appreciate it. I've been running my own art business for the last 6 years, and I've learned a lot over that time. And I tend to get the same frequently asked questions, so I want to take a moment to answer some of those in hopes that I can help you along on your own art journey in this series of Business of Being an Artist. In today's video, I want to answer what is actually probably the most common question that I get, and that is, how do you stay inspired? This is a question that's asked of artists all the time. Artists asking other artists, how do we stay inspired and avoid that creative block? And the real simple answer is, I don't. This is kind of hilarious because I know my whole sign off on this channel is stay well and stay inspired, my friends. Stay inspired, my friends, and stay inspired, stay inspired, stay inspired, stay inspired. Till then, stay well and stay inspired. Bye. And do I actually stay inspired at all times? No. But as someone that does this for a living, making that transition from working a corporate job and then doing my art in my free time to this is what I'm doing full time, I can't purely rely on inspiration to run my art business. And I think there's this impression of artists that we sit around in our studio space and then like a bolt of lightning, inspiration hits and we run to our canvases and we create this masterpiece. And that's just not how it works, at least not for me. If it works that way for you, kudos, that's amazing. But most of us working artists treat it like any other job. We get up, we make our coffee, we come into our space, and we get down to work. We laugh, we cry, we struggle, we have successes, we have fails, and you just keep at it. You just keep trying. And then through all of that, something amazing happens. You create a piece that you love. Best feeling ever, right? So maybe I have a controversial opinion here, but I think making art is a little bit less about inspiration and more just about making a lot of stuff. And it's not going to be good. In fact, most of it's probably going to be bad, but you make and make and make a lot of bad stuff, and eventually something good is going to come out of that. Chuck Close once said, "The advice I like to give young artists, or really anybody who will listen to me, is not to wait around for inspiration. Inspiration is for amateurs. The rest of us just show up and get to work. If you wait around for the clouds to part and a bolt of lightning to strike you in the brain, you are not going to do an awful lot of work. All the best ideas come out of the process. They come out of the work itself. Things occur to you. If you're sitting around trying to dream up a great idea, you can sit there a long time before anything happens. But if you just get to work, something will occur to you, and something else will occur to you, and something you reject will push you in another direction." This perfectly sums up how I actually feel about the creative process. The action of creating a work leads to creating more work, which leads to creating something else, which leads to another action, and henceforth, and it's actually a cycle. And I've heard over and over, and I'm sure you have as well, that the motto to any success is to just start. There's books on it, there's life coaches that teach you this, there's vlogs, and this is for really good reason. People will make all the excuses in the world, but if you want to pursue your interests in a bigger way, you just need to begin. So let's be clear, inspiration is wavering. So I think the key to any successful art business or practice is to have a balance of both inspiration and discipline. As the saying goes, inspiration will get you going, but discipline will keep you growing. All right, story time. So a good example of this is when I took it upon myself to do a 100-day project. If you're not familiar, it's a challenge where you do one thing every day for 100 days. So that could be cooking, it could be knitting, but in my case, it was drawing. I had an upcoming show at a gallery in Chelsea called Pleiades Gallery, and I already had a body of work that I knew was going to be hanging on 2 of the walls, but then I had a 3rd wall across from it that I had nothing for. And I had always wanted to try a 100-day project, and I thought, this is a great excuse to do this. I've always wanted to try one of these challenges, and it'll be something where I actually have a deadline and I'm creating something for a show. So I felt really inspired and completely motivated to do this thing. The first day I come in, I have all my papers set up, I have all my pens out, everything is clean and ready to go, and I do my first daily drawing. And it's a really good feeling. I was just so inspired to do this. So day 20 comes around, it's probably about noon, and I'm like, oh shoot, I haven't done my daily drawing yet. Okay, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna do this. Day 40 comes around. I'm like, how am I going to make a different drawing than the last 40 I have done in this format? And I've run out of different colors to use, and it's just the same format over and over. I just felt a bit exhausted with it. Day 60. Oh my God, it's 11 o'clock at night. I have an hour to get this drawing and done and post it online so I meet the daily drawing task, and I've already come this far, but what am I going to make? And oh, this is so stressful and I don't want to do this anymore. But I did do it, even when I didn't feel like it. And so I think that that's kind of the point of discipline. Just showing up every day or whatever your routine may be and doing the work even when you don't feel like doing it. So here's some tips for staying disciplined. Number 1, start small. I know it's really, really tempting to make a big shift like I did for the 100-day project, doing a drawing every single day for 100 days. But you want to start with something that you can do. So whether you commit to doing a drawing a week, a drawing a month, just have that one thing that you know you can commit to. And then tip 2 is to be consistent. So if it is once a month, pick a time, be very specific with yourself and have that blocked off and know that, all right, I'm going to be consistent. This is that one thing I have committed to myself that I'm going to do this one time every month or this one time every week. And try your best to just be consistent with that. So tip number 3 is do it anyway. Once that inspiration leaves, it can be really, really hard. But if you've made that commitment to yourself, that time, just do it anyway. Even if it feels really rough, it doesn't have to be the best thing ever. Even if you only spend 10 to 15 minutes on it, do it anyway. We've talked about discipline. If you're still looking for ways to breathe in an inspiration, here's some tips. Start with your sketchbook. It's a little bit less intimidating than working on a blank sheet of paper or a canvas, and you can just play and have fun with it. You can use different materials, maybe something you've never tried before, and just play. Make marks. It doesn't have to be anything specific. Maybe you've gone on a vacation recently and you have a nice travel photo. You can work off of that. You can look around your space and be like, oh, I see something with amazing colors in it, and use that for your inspiration. Just working in the sketchbook feels a lot less stress, a lot less pressure, and play. Have fun with it. Visit museums and galleries. If you're a fan of my channel, then you know that this is my favorite way to get inspired. Just going and walking around and seeing other work is so inspiring to me. It might be someone's scale, it might be a composition, it might be a subject matter, something that'll just set off that little inspiration spark in my mind. And I really recommend that if you have the accessibility to visit a gallery or museum yourself, that you do that and get that inspiration well filled. So another favorite way of mine to get inspired is to watch documentaries or read books about fellow artists. And there's just something about seeing other people's creative process that gets me really hyped up to work. So I would recommend that you check out some documentaries, well, even if that's on YouTube, or you could check out some artist books at your local public library. Just something to get the wheels turning about your own creative process by viewing what other artists do. Another way is to look back on your own work. Go through old sketchbooks, and maybe there was an idea that was half thought out that you didn't finish exploring. And I will go back to sketchbooks from like 5, 10 years ago, and I'll be like, oh, that was the seed of something that at the time I wasn't quite processing into any sort of body of work, but I might have that now. So I think going back and looking at old work can really help you in thinking about your own process and maybe picking up pieces where you'd left off at that time. Another way is to scroll. I always say be very, very careful about this and be very intentional about it. Maybe it's on Pinterest, you could do Instagram. There are save features on both of those when you see things that you like, but I'm always pretty hesitant to be like, don't keep scrolling, because as we know, it's really, really easy to just fall into a doom scroll. Be pretty specific. Maybe look up something intentionally, like colorful abstracts, and then scroll through what you see there, kind of absorb some ideas, make notes, and move on from it. But it is a good way to get inspired if you're looking for an outside source. So in conclusion, having inspiration, which will get you started, and then discipline, which will keep you going, is the goal for having an art business. All right, friends, I hope you found this video helpful. Let us know in the comments. Are you someone that runs on an endless engine of inspiration? Or are you a little bit more like me, where you'll have inspiration that gets you going, but then you need a little bit more discipline to keep things consistent? And if you have any other questions, leave it in the comments. I might answer it in a future video. But for now, I will see you next Friday for another artist tips video. And until then, please stay well and try to stay inspired. Bye.